to these ultra low levels. This is what people battle with later, is they battle with thinking that they have to build more muscle mass up than they actually need to get the quality vascular look that they're seeking, and it can suck up years. It's just like the truth and lies that I was talking about in the prior live. You're building one layer over an original lie, and that's ultimately what PEDs result in, until you have to become this megalomaniac monster who can't structurally support the lives anymore. So you have to work with your own physiology, your base of who you are, what your bone density is. So we start with that. We start with the wrist circumference. I guarantee my wrist circumference is much smaller than it was in the past. I think when I first did my wrist circumference, I had shown, and I just found my measuring tape here, but I had shown a wrist circumference of almost 7.5. Then it got down to under 7, and now it is at 6.75. Let's see. Yeah, 6.75. That's a small wrist. That changes everything. Because then when I'm using the Adonis index, I'm cueing in, and the end result will be index is based on your wrist circumference times the 6.5 times 6.75. And that gives me all the dimensions that are based on my chest circumference. So all those dimensional, all those percentages where the biceps are supposed to be. And I've walked with that naturally, never having touched a ped. The picture that's used on RogueBeastWarrior, completely natural, never used any PEDs. How did I do it? I only weighed about 159 pounds there, and I had just eaten about 2 pounds of pork loin. And I couldn't put it together back then because everyone still was apprehensive about eating fat. This is back in 2009. And now, of course, it's called carnivore. So I'm starting that tomorrow. And I'd be playing with this for months, possibly years. And I've done it. I've watched people do it. I've watched clients doing it. This is the critical factor that I'm talking about that most personal trainers don't even know. And the only reason that they start implementing it is because other people are doing it. But you can save yourself a lot of time and a lot of headache and a lot of your own research by just trying it. That is, instead of doing a carbo load, instead of going for the high quality carbohydrates with the high fiber sources, you stick with instead. And the best, most efficacious way to do that these days with the high prices. So we're on our 7th mile right now, and we're getting our 10 miles in. We're doing this for a total of 3 months. I've already done 2 months. This is the last month that I will be doing this. So I'm going to make it count. So this next 2 weeks, I'm going to be taking in pork loin and going into ketosis, carnivore, utilizing fat to produce the ATP energy that is required and to create more vascularity. I'm still on the base routine, doing bar dips, pull-ups, body weight movements, isometrics, but I'm only doing that, as I said, to prep and to keep an acuity for the real training that's going to be in the gym next month. So I'll be doing like 3 different things and possibly 4. Because my younger son wants to get a place up in Sacramento, and I may be doing like part-time IHSS with him, because I really love him and I want to give him a chance to learn the things that I know to become a man, and then to work beyond that whole societal norm to where principles, to where he becomes an autonomous person that understands, that is beyond good and evil, let's say, from a philosophical sense. It's not as complex as you may think. You have to kind of start studying a little bit of philosophy and debate certain attributes between liberty and autonomy and what that means, that it's a chasm. So we're working on our 7th mile. Yesterday I squeezed in 10 miles. Today I'll be finishing my 10 miles up in this hour. And I've got to do some resistance training, because I can, at this point, how I'm using it is when I feel like I'm really starting to lose muscle mass, muscle tissue, I jump in there and I'll do 2 or 3 days of intense training. But it's not the type of training that I need to do in order to bring out maximum muscularity. I've got to get around some weights to do that. I'm just too bored with isometrics, you know? And I could see myself doing more isometrics after I get in the gym and I work on the free motion machine. I'm able to do some bench presses. It's amazing how our brains and our motor neurons, they just want to go back to the patternized movements. So soon, my skinny little legs right now, I'll be doing squats. I love squats. I've had huge legs. I've trained doing heavy squats on routines progressively, 450 pounds for 20 sets of 20 reps, 25 reps sometimes. Just going absolutely bonkers insane. No shit. Doing a little under 350 pound bench presses at home at 183 pounds, 181 to 103 pounds, 83 pounds, doing sets of 335 and up for 5 to 7 reps at home with no spotter. Totally natural. But I would do things like, I'm extremely sensitive with PEDs. I had no idea. I'd put on 50 pounds when I just first started doing like TRT. Somebody gave me a small dose of some orals, and I put on a mass amount of, I have a couple pictures of that actually, that I even think I have on this channel. But I erased all my videos because it became a question of, it wasn't just a question, it was whether or not I employed principles and lived a lie or not. And what I found is that I couldn't really deal with the added attention I thought I needed, because I came from such a devoid place where I had no self-esteem. A lot of people think they have a self-esteem built, but it's only Machiavelli, manipulation, lies, seduction. In the way that they state things, they start to copy other people while they're not, they think that they're releasing themselves from any moral implications by copying the preset of what they see being done around them. I saw these people get this results employing this tactic, therefore I can use that tactic. Syllogism. And therefore that tactic is okay in society, and therefore I'm okay. It's not okay. And we see that. The snowball. Society's fucked. The world is fucked. The banking system's fucked. buy now, pay later. So in order to break that mentality, you have to live within the brutal honesty and truth. And you'll find that there's a lot more people that are not, you're not looking for sympathies, you're not looking for a sympathetic response. Like YouTube, sensationalism. Instead of watching this channel, you'll bypass this channel and you'll go on to the sensationalistic channels where people are claiming mistruths. They're creating drama for the past several months where it was like, here, you want to watch the fat guy? You know who I really am? You know what's really under there? You know what I really gave up? Do you know how I really got into that condition? What I really had to sacrifice for other people? So men become martyrs in society. This is, again, hails back to Friedrich Nietzsche and his idea of the overman. And when you look into Thus Spoke Zarathustra, there's Zoroaster, young Sadi, you see somebody who lived pure. But it doesn't talk enough about, such as the New Testament, of how you will be hung on a cross for your purity. That you will become the blame, the one that everyone blames. Why? Because you're the only one walking with principle and telling other people to walk with principle. But now, you've got an entire emergent process of people who are going, you know what? I'm sick of living a lie. It's never gotten me anywhere. I keep reaching the same ends. I'm battling with myself.